Morning crew, welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. It's been a while, I've been traveling, but I'm back now and we're going to make a workstation. Now the problem that I have is I have a desk in this little tiny office in the house where I work from home sometimes and where I edit all the videos. And I get tremendous back pain. The chair that I use isn't really compatible with the desk and it's just all the wrong heights, and I've put up with it for years. And now is the time we've decided to sort that particular room out, get it organized. It's a bit like a box room. It's full of cardboard boxes and junk and stuff as well, and a couple of bunk beds. It's just a horrible place to work in. Everything's just buried basically. So I thought, okay, let's just start doodling and putting together some kind of new desk, and how can we make it more of an Andy Mechanic style desk and more suitable for the work that I want to do. It's going to involve fabrication, it's going to involve some steel, welding, grinding, cutting, all that kind of thing. Now, I could make, as I have done in the past, a very, very long detailed video on how to do this, which gets a little bit boring. So I'm going to make it more of the highlights, but obviously I need to cover the basic design, and then I'll take you through how far I've got, because I did some work last weekend. I wasn't in the right space for doing a video. I thought I'll just crack on, focus on what I want to do, and then, because I've got I missed a bit of the story, so I designed it all up, and Mrs. Mechanic goes, "Oh, that's nice, isn't it?" Because Mrs. Mechanic has her own YouTube channel, and she said, "Could you make two and we'll get rid of the bunk beds?" Yes, of course I can, honey, no problem at all. So I ordered twice the steel, twice the price, and I'll come to the costings shortly, because it's interesting to see just how expensive steel is here in New Zealand, so you can compare that with the cost of steel in your country, you know, because this kind of stuff, it's not cheap, and to be fair, it would have been much cheaper to go out and just buy a new desk of the right height. Probably would have got one with an adjustable height top to it as well, which would have been even better, but I wanted to make something, you know, and this is quite specific. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at my fag packet design, and then we'll go from there. Here we go. Roll the intro. Boom. Used.
You don't paint something without working.
Honestly. Right, page one. There's a new book, page one, and I thought, oh, no worries, I'll just use a couple of roll cabs, because they're quite high, and then I can get an architect's chair, which I can actually raise up to the desk height. Gives me a bit more room for my legs, and if I want to, I can then remove the chair and work at the station stood up, which helps my back enormously. Just from time to time, 10 or 15 minutes stood up working makes all the difference. And I can be sat at this desk for 6 or 8 hours constantly doing admin work for my day job or editing videos. So the ergonomics are pretty important. So I started off with this. I've got some basic dimensions of roll cabs. 670mm wide each roll cab, and 955 is the height to the top of the roll cab when it's on its wheels that it's supplied with. And I wanted a gap basically of 960 wide in the middle minimum, and the overall length originally was 2.3 meters, 2,300 millimeters. Just a real basic design. And then I wanted to look at where the roll cabs were going to be positioned, you know, looking down from the top where I'm going to have them positioned. That has now changed. Bear that in mind. Okay, turning over with the tripod, turning over, boom, 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 here we go. Right, so ignore all of that. That was something else. I wanted to look at how I'm going to join the whole thing together, because it can't all be welded together in one piece, because there's no way we're going to get it in the room. We've got to build this in situ. So you can see here a basic outline of the workstation. This is the height of the desk where you would work. These are the two roll cabs, and we've got a frame. This is the side view of the frame down here. We've got a frame at each end, which is braced. Those are welded up and I've actually made one of those, so we'll go and look at that shortly. Those are welded up, one at each end, and all the bars that go from one side to the other are all bolted into place. And that's what this was designed was for. This was an idea on how to connect the horizontals onto that framework. Was it going to be a single mount bolt or a twin mount bolt? And I thought that was a bit of overkill, to be fair. It's only a workstation, so we went for the single mount bolt. Now, I also wanted to put a shelf on the top because we've got a lot of stuff to store in there and we can get a lot of it on top. It's a huge shelf, so there's about 500, 600 mil gap from the top of the shelf to the ceiling of the room. So we've got quite a space to stack stuff up out of the way, which will be great. I also wanted to put at each end of the bench, the workstation, some kind of shelving to house things like hard drives. I've got an old PC that I use for all my old archive material, which runs about 6 or 7 different hard drives. So again, these shelves, the size of these shelves has been designed so that I can put the old PC on there and a small screen, and I can still access it without having to utilize the main desk. And on the back here, there'll be a piece of timber coming across, and we'll mount both the two screens off the screen mounts, and I'm going to mount them from the back rather than from the top of the desk. You can get different style mounts, and then I can push them back out of the way when I don't need to use them. And I want to use it as more of a bench than a desk, so to speak, when I'm maybe doing soldering and stuff. Now, the next question was what size material to use, because I have to future-proof this. There may be a time where Mrs. Mechanic goes, you know what, we don't want these workstations in the house anymore. You know, you don't make as many videos, you're getting old and decrepit, let's put them in a workshop. So I thought, well, if I make them so they're workshop strong, and maybe even a vise could be bolted to it at a later date, then it would future-proof it. Plus, to be fair, this is a very long span. We've increased it now to 2.5 meters from one end to the other. That's quite a big desk. So I went for 50 by 50 box section with a 4mm wall. That's pretty hefty stuff, to be fair. That's for all the main frame, and the smaller stuff, the spars and this shelving stuff, is all 30 by 30mm box section with a 3mm wall from memory. Everything's on casters. The roll cabs are on casters. It's 4 swivel casters, so you can bring the roll cab directly out from underneath, so you can get underneath to do wiring and stuff. And of course, the actual workstation itself is again on 4 swivel casters, and the outer 2, the ones that face, you know, the front of the workstation, also have locks on them. And we'll go and have a little look at the casters that I've bought and why I chose the particular casters that I did. And casters are not cheap. Well, there are some real cheap ones out there, but you don't buy cheap ones because they're crap. Now, obviously, the workstation needs to be braced as well, because we're only using a single mount bolt for the horizontals. So if you didn't have any bracing, the whole thing would just drop to one side. It would just collapse like a couple of dominoes, you know. It would concertina down. So on the back, I was coming up with an idea of some kind of bracing. Yes, I changed my mind on the drawing. What the hell? But that'll come to light further down the line, and hopefully we'll get that done this afternoon. We'll see how time pans out. My main aim is to get one of these frames made up complete by the end of today. I say complete as in I can bolt the whole thing together in the workshop and we can see what it looks like. There may still be some final finishing work to do. At the top of this box section here, there'll be some little plastic square caps that you hammer into the box section, and the finish, I'm not going to paint it as in a coloured paint. It's the whole thing's going to get cleaned up and it's going to get sprayed with lacquer, because I quite like to see all the grinding marks and the wells and that kind of thing. It's just what I do. Paint hides all of that and it makes it a bit boring. The total height is 1970 millimeters with the casters. The caster height from the floor to the mounting plate is 150 mil, and I've allowed another 150 mil gap before we have the cross brace here. This cross brace is at the same height as the desk, which is 960 mil, which will give us a 5 mil gap from the top of the roll cab to the underside of the desk. That's the plan. So the desk itself will be a little bit higher. The desk will be the desk surface will be another 80 millimeters on top of that. So 1,040, just over a meter off the ground is the desk height. And the architect's chair goes way higher than that desk. It suits all sorts of stuff. So it's one of those gas strut chairs, so there's no problem there. It's the height of the desk isn't too important. Hopefully that's going to be high enough to stand up. I think it will be. We should be all good there. If it's not, then of course I can just put my laptop on a box or something if I need to do, or the keyboard. We'll make it work. So turning over, this is the design of these two pieces here that we use for the connections between all the box sections, the vertical and the horizontal. So I was just designing that up. We've got two different sizes, one for the small box section, which is the bottom one, and one for the larger box section, which is the top. So you can see all the dimensions on there. And I got all these laser cut because there's a lot of them, and it would have taken me probably a couple of days to make them if I hadn't done that. So it wasn't that expensive either. Now, just for your interest, this is a basic cutting list. It's not the final length, it's nearly the final length. Whenever I order steel, I never order it exactly the right length because sometimes they don't cut it square. So you need to have a little bit left on the box section to trim it up and square everything up properly. Make a nice job, So I've labeled all the components. You can see here on the diagram, all the lengths are all labeled up, so you can pause the video and have a little look at that if you want to make your own workstation. This is just an idea. That's all it is, just to show you what I do sometimes and things that I make, and it might just give you an idea of making your own. Yeah, this is the final sizes. Here, look, I did another drawing while I was working out all the cutting measurements and stuff. Right, the next job is, let me take you over and show you the laser cutting, which is these pieces here. Right, let's have a wander across the workshop. Okay, so we've got in these two tubs, we've got the laser cutting pieces. All I've done with these is drill the final hole and use a countersunk piece to get rid of any burring. The radiuses and everything were all done during the laser cutting. So that's basically how the piece came to me, apart from the hole that I've drilled. There was already a hole there, just the final drill size. That one is 8.5 mil. And this one I've done at 10 millimeters dead, because I don't want any kind of play on these ones. It doesn't matter too much for these. A little bit of wiggle room is always a good thing, because these are just for cross braces and shelving and stuff. Okay, so that's all those done. There's enough there. Well, there's going to be plenty of those spare, to be fair. I ordered because I thought, well, that's actually quite a useful piece that I can incorporate in other designs in the future. So it wasn't much more to get maybe twice as many cut once they've designed it. It was easy. There's 60 of these, and I have already used a few, I think. Or have I? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. I've not used any of those yet. So there's 60 of those in the container. Okay, so this is the steel. This is what's left. Two different sizes. Now, some of these lengths, obviously, I can cut multiple pieces from, like I've done those there. They're piece B. I labelled them all up at the start, because the last thing you want to do is pick the wrong piece of steel and start cutting it and end up with an odd size at the end. So they're all labelled up, they're all cleaned off. Well, most of them are cleaned off, because they were really black. There was some nasty stuff on these, horrible to work with. So I give them all a clean off with some brake cleaner. This is the 30x30, and that's the 50x50, and there's a lot of it, to be fair. Now, if we come over here, talking about steel, this is the costings. Steel North Shore Limited is where I get my steel from, up in Auckland. And you'll see here, look, if I just scan down, these again are all the labelling of each component for the workstation. And you can see how that length, or those lengths, are then broken down to smaller sizes down there, look. And the total cost, over $2,000, including GST. That's a lot of money for that steel, to be fair. Steel prices have gone up tremendously in the last couple of years. So there you go, and they charged me $80 to do the cutting, because normally you can only buy this steel in 6 meter lengths, and I didn't want to take the big trailer up to Auckland to collect it. It wasn't convenient at the time, so I had to manipulate the sizing so it would all fit in the back tray of the pickup truck that I drive. Right, back to the bench. Okay, so you've seen the basic design, the fag packet design that I've come up with in the book. Obviously, things do tend to change a little bit once you start to build them, and you have to make modifications or adaptations to your design on the fly. And this project is no exception. Now, the tools that I used, I made, first of all, the first frame. And because I've got 4 frames to make, they're the bits that go at the ends, the vertical frames that go at the end, each end of the workstation, and there's 2 workstations, so there's 4 frames in total. I made the first one and took quite some time to get it very accurately as a square, or not as a square, but square as regards the joints, and also for the 2 lengths to be parallel. Very important. You don't want the frame to be twisted. That'll be really, really bad. Make you a lot more problems further down the line, and it wouldn't look right, and it probably wouldn't sit properly on the floor. It would cockle on the casters. So to do that, I set everything up, and you can see, I'll take you around in a minute. I did it on as flat a workbench table that I've got. Unfortunately, my main bench has got a vise on it, and it's not very flat because it's got pieces of steel and flat steel on it and stuff for storage. So I used a workbench, built the first one, spent probably half a day lining it all up, getting everything as perfect as I could. And to get the 2 main rails, which I think are rails A, to get those parallel, I used a digital spirit level. Really, really useful. I've used this in other videos. I'll just turn it on. It makes a little beep when it goes to 0. So we'll just, there you go. Look, so I just go like that. It's like a little game. It's very, I can't do it. It's very, very accurate. I'll do it this way around. Hang on, bear with me. I can see the screen properly. Anyway, enough of that. It does work, and it's great. So if you're doing this kind of stuff, you should get one of these. Very, very useful. There's lots of different styles out there, and I find that one super reliable and very, very accurate. As regards distancing from one side to the other, to make sure that the 2 rails are parallel in, between each other, I use one of these, and this is a little laser measurer made by Ryobi. There's a few different brands out there, and it's really cool. If I just hold it here and hold it against the light, hang on, let's do it that way around. There you go. Then it tells me very accurately to 3 decimal places the millimeters from where this has been held to the light in this case. So what you do is you put one end, this end, against the steel that you're measuring from. The laser then shoots out, hits the other object, goes back in, and it measures the distance, including the length of the tool, because it knows what that is. So very, very cool, very accurate, and very quick. However, it eats batteries, so you need spare batteries for that. The only other tools that I really use to get everything lined up square is obviously a couple of squares. And about the biggest one that I've got is this one here. And that is 600mm on the long length. And what is it there? 400mm on the short length. And this is really useful. I use it mainly for timber work, but it's also very useful for steel work as well if you're making something big. And we use this on when we built the adventure trailer quite a bit. I did buy another one recently, which is also really good, which is an aluminium square, which it's got a few angles on there as well, actually. So if you want to do angles and things, they're all marked down here, which I've not used yet, but it looks pretty useful. And it's got a nice flat T-piece at the bottom there, look, so you can actually clamp it down if you want to, which is really good. It'd be nice to have one of these where it had a T-piece on both sides, and then you could clamp the pieces against it while you tack them into place. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? So it wasn't expensive, really cool, made by a company called Empire. And it's about $35, 30 bucks, maybe just under 30 bucks actually. It wasn't bad. So we've got that as well. Right, let's take a quick look at the jig that I made now, and then I'll show you what I've done so far. Okay, shop dog. Oh, she's down there, look. She's sulking because Mrs. Mechanic's on an adventure and not at home at the moment. So this is basically the first frame that I made. It hasn't got the diagonals in at the moment, it's just the bare frame. All of this is 50 by 50, and you can see here, look, frame number 1, the jig. I've not done the welds at the top, and there's a reason for that, because when you put the other steel on, basically it wants to sit nice and flush. I also find it's important that when you're welding these up, just clamp a piece of steel across from here to here, and it lines these up nicely, so you get them absolutely bang on. Works well. So once you've made the first frame, you can then with many clamps, and I've pretty much run out of clamps, to be fair. I've got all these pieces from a previous project left over. I've just clamped these on. These are quite thick. I think these are 10mm thick plates. I clamp those on, and then when I'm making the next frame, and you'll see that shortly, we can drop the box section into place, clamp it to here, and then it's bang on parallel to that one. And each piece has got two little bits on it clamped up, so the whole thing instantly becomes exactly the right shape, basically. And if you look down there, it's all bloody good. Actually, very happy with it. It's come out well. And all I did here was I put some stoppers on the end to make sure that we get this length here accurate. It doesn't matter too much. This is the top of the frame. It doesn't matter too much if this protrudes slightly. I can trim that down later on quite easily. But when it comes to this end, where the casters, there's going to be some steel plates welded on there, we'll be doing those later on. They need to be at 90 degrees to this box section on both planes, this plane here and on the side. Very important you get those right. And the distance from that plate to here is absolutely critical. You don't want this leg to be too short or longer, because again, it'll cockle. It won't sit flat on the ground. Although, to be fair, you know, once we all get loaded up, it's bound to twist a little bit. And it would take up that movement. But hey, we want to get it as good as we can, right? That's the whole idea. So there you go. That is frame number 1. And if we go over here, frame number 2, I actually put the diagonals in. So we can see those little lugs. I cut the lugs down a little bit that go onto the main frame. And of course, this is the full length into the box section. You can see all I do is drill a hole 30mm down. This is 6mm plate, so a 6mm hole, and then with a slit disc, just slit disc back both sides on both sides of the box, and then that piece then just slots in, line it all up, and then you can weld it straight in. It's a really simple way of joining the whole thing together. And these could have been welded in, but I wanted to bolt them in purely for aesthetics, to make it look nice. These are temporary bolts. It'll be countersunk, so I've got these to drill countersunk at some point. I'll drill them on the bar ends, actually. So what you're looking at the moment is actually the inside, not the outside. So it's wrong. Anyway, it's not wrong. I just crossed that out and put it on the other side, right? Simple. But yes, it's come together pretty well. The third frame is welded together. That's all done. Just needs the diagonals putting in. And I thought I'd save the last frame for this video. So over here we've got 2 more uprights, double A's, there we are, look, 2 A's. So I'll be getting that set up in the jig. We've already got the cross pieces done, the B's, they're all done there, look. So we've got everything we need now to build the last frame. We'll get that done, and then what I'll do is on this video we'll do 1 more frame with the diagonals. The other 2 frames will just get put to one side for now, because I really want to focus on getting one of these done today. I'm not going to get them both done today. There is no chance. Right, back to the bench. Geez, so much to talk about. I think we've covered quite a lot already, and we haven't even started to make anything. Although we are, I suppose, a little bit further down the line, because I spent last Saturday doing it. I've only got today, tomorrow. Normally I'm in the workshop Saturdays and Sundays. Tomorrow I'm not. I've got to head down to Wellington, which is about a 6-hour drive, with the little Eiffel Williams trailer, and pick up Mrs. Mechanic from the ferry. She's just driven back a little Suzuki Carry 4-wheel drive with low ratio, and I found out this morning, rear diff lock. Diff lock! It's got diff lock in it as well. How cool is that? So I'm going to pick her up, chuck it on the trailer. She's been away for 2 weeks. She did a whole week's hiking in the South Island, and then I've sent her on an adventure driving the Suzuki Carry down the old Molesworth from Hammer Springs up to Blenheim and then to Picton. She originally picked the machine up in Timaru, and she was originally in Queenstown, so she had to get a bus from Queenstown to Timaru, pick up the vehicle, and then do this journey that I put together. And you'll see all of that, not the hiking, I don't think, but you'll see the driving and the picking the vehicle up and driving it down the Molesworth and stuff. She's doing a little video on that, so you'll see that on her YouTube channel and there's a link at the end of this video in the credits bit, you know, where it comes up with little circles and boxes. You'll see a link to One Little Lady & Co. YouTube channel. If you're interested in that, that video should be out in the next few weeks, hopefully. Okay, right, let's crack on because the clock is ticking. I'm missing a clamp. I must have used it for something else since I was doing this project. Oh, I need one more clamp. I have ordered some more, but they're not turned up yet. Okay, leave it with me. And all the steel's now in place. All the clamps bar one are in place. I'll get it all tacked up and then we'll take a look. Oh, casters. Let's take a quick look at the casters. I forgot about that. Yes, these are really, really, really cool. Hang on, let's pull the box back a bit. There we go. Look at these. Now, these are, there's two different types in here. These are made by a company called Blickel, I think it is. Blickel, there, look. There you go. Made in Germany. And they are 40mm wide. I'm not too sure what the diameter of the wheels is, but the distance from the bottom, here where it sits on the floor, to this swivel plate is 150mm exactly, so I'm told. This one's got the locks. This is one of the outer ones that will sit at the front of the desk where you sit. And there's another one of those, and there's another one of those. And yes, there's one that doesn't have that clamp on it. So that's one of the rear ones. Other than that, they're absolutely identical. Now, each of these casters, wait for it, these are industrial casters. They are super smooth on the bearings, not like the ones down there, which are crap on Sheldon the Mill. I put on, they were freebies, and they've all collapsed. Not very nice at all. And these ones, these are the same ones that I put on the sandblasting cabinet. Look at the state of this one. Look at the angle on that. It's absolutely buggered. And the sandblasting cabinet isn't over heavy either, to be fair. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons why I decided to go for good casters. Plus, it's going to be in the house. It's more of a feature as well. I've got to make it look smart. You know, otherwise Mrs. Mechanic will be a bit upset because it'll look just like another bit of my workshop inside the house. But each wheel, each caster can carry 350 kilograms capacity. Now that's way over the top to what we want, but it means that because they're over-engineered, they should last many, many, many years without any problems at all. So these were, okay, drum roll please, including tax, there's 8 of them, $960, so nearly $1,000 for 8 industrial casters. Very expensive, very, very expensive indeed. And I was really, it took me a couple of days to pluck up the courage to actually go ahead and order some. Oh, they even got their name on the wheel, look. How cool is that? Nice. So I'm hoping that they'll last forever, basically. These should be, you know, what's the word? Well, they should last forever. That's the bottom line. Yeah, I've just noticed that, look. These ones don't have anything in the middle there, look. They do swivel, obviously. And these ones... How weird is that? Is that just a freak where they've missed off a little cap? No, they're all like that. All the ones that don't have the lock also have a hole down the middle. Bizarre. Oh well. Okay, let me find another clamp and I'll start welding. You're going to laugh at this. I found a little vice that I used. Hey, if it's a clamp, it's a clamp, right? It works. Okay, let's go and turn on the MIG. I'm not too sure how much gas we've got left, to be fair. Let's have a look. So those that don't do welding, This dial here tells you how much gas you've got in your tank, and this gas is the pressure of the gas that comes out of the gun. And this is the turn it on knob. So if you watch that, we'll see how much we've got. Oh, it didn't move, did it? So we've only got, I don't know, 20 bar left in the tank. That's not a lot at all. Well, we'll get done what we can today. Oh, power supply. Yes, so with MIG welders, and this is an old Murex trades MIG, 251. Single phase 240 volt AC, needs a really good power supply. So up here we have in the rafters of the workshop a dedicated power supply. That's a 40 amp supply. It's using a 3-phase plug only because we need the bigger pins, and only 3 of the pins in that plug are actually in use. So that would confuse the crap out of electricians, and I'm sure in some countries that won't meet code. They have put a little label on there to say it's not 3-phase, so you know. And that heads off back to the house. And the guy said to me, whenever you're doing any welding, Andy, make sure that everything else is turned off in the house, because you don't have a lot of power to the house. And the MIG uses a lot of it.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. Tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you try to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I know you still wrong. It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray. You fade away, you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong, it's all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place.
Right, all the clamps to take off, flip it over, and weld the other side up. Shouldn't take long. Almost time for a break for me, but look at this. They come out pretty well. Mrs. Mechanic's got a bit of splatter to clear off, look. She's very good at that. But I tell you what, it makes a huge difference, the welder having a decent power supply. Seems to get a lot less splatter, a lot less problems, much neater welds, better penetration, all that kind of stuff, you know. Yes, that'll do the trick. Shouldn't take too long to clean up. So that's all 4 frames now welded up and done, finished. So that's why we don't need the jig anymore. So very happy with that. Oh, I'll put that one upside down, look. I have to write the B the other way up now. I jest. It's any box section. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the next job after my coffee and cigarette, probably, to recover from all the fumes, that's ironic, isn't it, is to put the crossbars, that's the next job we'll be doing, is making up the two crossbars to fit into this, Mrs. Mechanic. What she has to say, we'll find out. Come on then, let's have a look. Oh, I got a new phone. I got a Samsung S23. Is it a Mrs. Mechanic one? Yes, here we are, look. Well, I've done the stop part, trying to set up GoPro, getting hot and bothered. Oh dear. Oh. D-E-A-R exclamation mark. She's on an adventure just driving Molesworth today. And Molesworth is a gravel road that runs from Hammer Springs all the way to just south of Blenheim, and then you can get onto another gravel road to get to Blenheim. So she's basically on gravel, I would say 75% of the way from Hammer Springs to Blenheim, and the distance is 280 kilometers. Yes, that's a very long way. And she's driving a Suzuki Carry pickup. I'll put a little picture in the video for you so you can see what she's up to. If you want to check out the full adventure, go onto her YouTube channel, and there's a link at the end of this video. Right, crew, time for me to have a coffee and a cigarette. And, well, here's a message from Tool Girl Holly.
Now then, crew, Tool Girl Holly here. Don't miss the next live stream, 8:30 AM Sunday.
Thanks, Holly. Cheers for that. Right, crew, coffee's done. Next job is to make up some of these small little tabs. Now, 4 of them stay in their current form. These are the ones that go in the box section. And the ones that go on the actual frame itself, I need to cut down a little bit, and I've got a little template. I always make templates. Templates are great, so I can just pop the bolt through the hole, drop this on, get the slick disc, chop, 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 clean it up, and I've got 4 of these to weld onto the frame. And then we'll cut some box section and we'll weld these in as well after we've drilled the hole and cut the little slots. Here we go. Yee, Saturday morning. I could have done without another project, to be fair. I've got lots going on at the moment. You'll see a go-kart frame behind me. That's for Jared. I've got the pipe for that now to finish that frame off, but not had the time to do it, unfortunately. But hey, that's the way it goes. We've got the Triumph Bonneville, the engine's down in Invercargill at the moment. And what else have we got going on? Oh, there's a lathe that we're building, an old Myford lathe that's still outstanding. So yeah, lots going on. So all these little things that take a bit of time, to be fair. It needs to be done. It saves marking them all out, doesn't it? Right, well I'll get the other two done and I'll see you very shortly. Well, that's all 4 done. What's next? Well, we need some box section, don't we? 30 by 30 by 3, I think it is. Hot. Nope, that's the template. Andy, donkey. Right, so we'll stick that back over here because I've still got some more to make for the other workstation. Cool. Okay, so looking in the book, we need some box section that should be labelled up C, and that's the diagonals for the end frames. And we've got a cut. Yeah, there's 4 lengths at 850. That's only approximate, obviously, you know, I just went for an approximate on these. So we're looking for a length C, and then we can obviously, I've already made 2, so we've got some to copy from. That should be easy. Right, where's that steel? Okay, oh, right on the top. Must have known. You can see all the other stuff there, all labelled up for other parts of the project. So we need one of these. Excellent. Alright, I've already marked up where these little lugs are going to go. That's this corner, because obviously it's a mirror image of the other end that we've already made. So there's one here, one down there, another one there, another one there. So, in order to get these little lugs at exactly the right placement, got a bit of steel and a couple of nuts on there as spacers. So we'll just pop this on here, and that way it just helps to line it all up. We do the first one like this. Now, because I want the diagonal pieces to all be exactly the same and, to be fair, interchangeable between the various frames, just in case we get them mixed up one day, which is kind of unlikely, but you know, better to keep it all the same. I'll just tighten this up, and then we can weld this one in. The other one's a bit more complicated because we can use I've taken the bars out of the first frame, so we can use those as the piece to put between, and then we'll just copy the bar. Quite simple. And this needs to be at 45 degrees. Now it isn't 45 degrees the angle of the bar, but I just wanted to keep them all the same, and I'd already made that one and gone, should have been a slightly different angle, but hey, it is what it is. So that now I can clamp that down, and the little cutouts on the corners of these are at 45 degrees, so it all lines up nicely. Right, stick that on there, stick that over here. Obviously try and put your clamps as far away as you can from where you're welding. So slide him across a bit so he's out of the way. I could have put them upside down as well, but I think we'll work around it. And I can tack that into place, and then we can work out where the other one needs to go as regards, well, we know where it needs to go, but we can install the bar and then we're all good, hopefully. Yes, because the bar can go from the underside and use a longer bolt, and then we get the depth and the distance from the corner, because it may not necessarily touch the frame. There might be a little gap, or I might need to take a little bit off it, but I want the holes between these two little lugs to be exactly the same on all the frames, hopefully. May not go to plan. Right, we need the MIG and a welding mask. Right, MIG is on. We're down to, we've already used 25% of the gas. Sorry, we've already used 25% of the gas that we had left in the bottle, so I can be quite frugal on the old gas usage today. There we go, that should do. I'm going to need more nozzles for the MIG because they get pretty manky now as well, so we can get rid of these clamps. They've done their bit. And we can take off the metal plate. Woohoo! And by doing that, it gets them all the right depth and sort of parallel. That's hot. God damn it. Right, we'll go back and burn ourselves some more. Whew. Okay, let's get rid of that. Stick them over there. And we've got these two nuts that are also hot. So that's now in place, in the right place. So we'll get the bar. Here is the bar. And that needs to go across there. I won't weld that in proper until we've tacked the other one into place. Just to be on the safe side. I mean, it's tacked in well enough, it's not going to go anywhere. Right, we need a bolt. Unfortunately, I've only got long ones at the moment. These are all going to be countersunk on the bar. So there'll be a countersunk showing on the outside of the frame. That's the plan, he says. So we'll stick that in there. We'll do that up. Not over tight, it's just a case of just alignment really. There we go. Okay, now to the other end. Okay, here we go. Right, we've got the plate, 2 spaces, and then we need that on the plate, and then that's got a thread through there. That, and then we've got the nut to go underneath. So I need more hands really, but anyway, we'll give it a go. Woohoo! Okay, so we're doing 2 things at once. That's going to work. That is bang on, is that? So let's tweak that up. Wrong size spanner, obviously, because this is a different bolt. Anyway, not to worry. I think it'll work. There we go, we're on now. Nope, need a 12 for this one. Okay. Right, that looks to be pretty good. It's parallel to the other one. So we've set the height using this plate and the 2 spaces, and we've set the point of the hole by using this as a template. We should really write template on there, shouldn't we? And then if I make all of these the same, they'll fit all the frames. That's the theory. Okay, just so we don't get mixed up, otherwise you get compound error. Right, that is ready now to weld or to tack into place. So, welding mask. Okay, so I'll pull it across a bit. There we go. Super job. Okay, we'll whiz that off now. I don't know if that socket will work. Might do. Hot. Socket. Stuck on the nuts. Bolt. Okay. So now I can bolt that up proper. And then we can weld it up. Oh my word. Mrs. Mechanic! What's she doing now? No, we need a 12mm socket. Hang on. Yes! Come back. Oh. We'll get this done and then we're going to see what she says. It could be a catastrophe. Okay, so we can now weld that into position and it's in exactly the right place. Perfect. And we'll do the other side as well while we're on. Nice. No message, Mrs. Mechanic. It was an email that came through. My fault, getting used to a new phone. So the other side, the underside of those tabs will need to be welded too. Looks scruffy otherwise. I'll do that once we've done the other side, the other diagonal. I'll flip the frame over and do that. So I won't bother doing that on camera. You've seen how I now do the tabs on the frame. There's going to be lots more. I'm not going to show you all of them. I told you it wasn't going to be a long video. But I do need to show you how to make that diagonal. And then you'll know how to do that. So let's crack on with that now. Here we go. Okay, diagonal is, this is the upper diagonal. Diagonal is now out, piece of box section with two of those lugs welded one at each end. Very, very simple. Obviously, oh no, I've got some weld on it. I'll have to clean that up. Obviously, the distance between the two holes is absolutely critical. And I could make a jig to put the two plates on, slot the box section to place, weld it up. Doesn't matter too much. Once these are bolted into place, the box section could essentially float between those two. It doesn't really matter exactly what the distance is from the end of the box to the hole. It's the distance between the two holes that's the critical point in this design. And it just so happens we've already got a jig. The jig is the frame behind us. Hoo-hoo! So easy. So we need to measure up how long this bit of box section is. I can't remember what it is. I'll write it on for next time. And we'll get it cut. I'll show you how to drill the holes and cut the slots for the end pieces. And we'll get it welded up. But we're going to weld it up in the frame. And we'll be doing that. And what I'll do is I'll make up two more of these off camera, which are ready to go into the other two frames. I know it's more work, but whilst I've got that frame available, and this is now the jig, so to speak, again, for making these, and then I'll do the same, I'll make three more bottom ones. Yes, I'll do that. I know we could have used the other one as a jig, because it's over there, but we've just made this one. So we'll use this one, be easy. And then we can just basically bolt the ends, do the same at each end that we did the first time around, and we're good to go, right? It's all about trying to be as accurate as possible, but in a reasonably efficient manner, because it takes bloody long time when you're filming. It really does. Okay, so we've got some box section to cut. Let's go and get that lined up and score it. Right, so what I'll do is I'll line this up at the other end of the box. Dum, dum, dum. And by doing it this way around, you're eliminating the use of a tape measure where you can make errors. If you just line this piece up and then score it accordingly, in fact, wait, we'll just do it properly. Let's just get this. And we'll do that, you see. It's easy. I don't even need to know how long that is. Now, the remaining piece from this length is long enough to do the short piece for the lower diagonal. I know that. That was the plan. Okay. Angle grind. Oh, I've got to score that all the way around first. Let's do that. Dum dum dum. Dum 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 dum. There we go. Hang on, it didn't score down the back of there, so I can't really see it very well. I'm trying to do it to camera for you, and it's not always that easy. There we go, that should line up with both of them. It does, lovely. So, we need to cut that angle grinder time. Okay, a little tip for you. Inside the box section, and you can see it down the side, there's a welded side, and if you look in there, oh, there we are, look, see that little ridge just on there, look? Well, we don't want that to be at the top or the bottom where we're going to be drilling and cutting. Cutting is not a problem, but drilling is an issue. Plus it may well get in the way, so what we'll do is we'll put that lip to one side so it ends up on the side here, out of the way. Top tip for the day. Okay, so I'll just mark those. We've got basically use that side there and that side there. Now, ruler. There we go. Okay, so 30 millimeters in, we need to score that on both sides, because that's going to be where the hole's going to be. It's a lot easier to slit this down to the hole and it just falls out, rather than trying to cut the end off with the slit disc. So I could score round, but I won't. I'll just measure it again, because otherwise it can confuse the crap out of me. And to be fair, these are only approximate, because we're going to be welding it anyway, and weld fills up all sorts of mistakes. It's brilliant. Okay, now we need the centre of that for the hole. This is quite important, and that will be 15, because it's 30 by 30 box. There we go. Same at this end. And it's really important, because you've got this radius here. It's quite difficult sometimes to get your rule lined up. So if you get something like that, you can see this, I'll hold it around for you, and hold that up to there, and then put your ruler onto it, you're going to be really accurate. There we go. Okay, or more accurate. Alright, now this is going to create somewhat of a, because you're on the same bench, you're going to get a little bit upset with me. So hold on, we're ready. That's one, sorry. The phones don't like it, because I film using a phone and they don't like this kind of stuff either, to be fair. Right, let me mark up the other end and then I'll see you over at the drill press, okay? Right, so Fred, a few holes to drill. Because it's a 6mm plate, I'm going to drill a 6mm hole. And away we go. Woohoo! Right, next job is to cut the slots with the slit disc. Now, again, these slots that are going to allow the flat plate to slot in don't need to be massively accurate, because again, there's weld. It's just really a clearance hole, a clearance slot basically. So we'll just scroll that down there, and you can pretty much eyeball these. Just get it parallel. There we go. That's that one done. Flick it over. And we'll do that side. Okay, easy when it's clamped, because things tend to move around when you're scoring stuff like this. So we'll just eyeball that. Yes, she's all good. There we go, that's near enough. And that one. Super. Right, you guys have to stand back a bit while I do some more grinding. Well, cutting, actually. Okay, so the next job is to assemble this in the frame behind me with 2 of these bolted in, and then we know it's exactly the right distance between the holes because it's bolted, and then we can just tack it all up and then weld it up. It's easy. Here we go. So put that through. I know they're really long bolts. I know they are. It's all I've got at the moment. I need to order some more. Well, in actual fact, I've got the right ones, but they're not countersunk. So. It is the way it is. Right, to the one. So again, bolt through first, then the plate, then the nut. I like making stuff. It's great, isn't it? Working out how to do it. The best way. And if you know a better way, let me know, because I'm always very keen to improve. Now this should now just slot into position at both ends. Look at that. So make sure that they're parallel, which they are. And is there much movement like that? Let's have a look. Yes, there is. So we could actually set the gap to be about the same at each end, which would be even better. Where's my ruler? Okay, so we've got at this end about 20 millimeters. Let's have a look at the other side. There we go. What have we got down here? About 22, so we need to come 1 millimeter this way to be pedantic. There we go, that was about a millimeter, so it should be 21, which it is. Super. Okay, now I could put a clamp on there and a clamp at the other end to make sure that that's parallel, but I'm just going to eyeball it because, we're very good as humans to get things lined up. And again, it's not a critical element, to be fair. And the important thing is that those holes are exactly the right distance apart, which we know that they are. Okie dokie, now we're just tacking it into place for now. Super job. Now I can unbolt it and weld it up. So just before I turned the camera on, I heard a notification come through, and I am sure it's a text this time around. It's a different sound, so maybe from Mrs. Mechanic. Let's go and find out. Turn you around. Boom. Okay, here we go. In fact, I'll just carry the phone. There we go. Take it out the tripod. Bum 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 bum. Jeez. She's all on her own in the middle of one of the remotest areas of New Zealand in this little truck. Yes. Oh, I made it just right. She's just come up Jolly's Pass Road, which is really rough, very steep, a couple of stream crossings and stuff. And she's just texted to say she's made it up Jolly's Pass Road and she's on the Molesworth track now at Acheron campsite. Holy crap! Well done, honey. I am relieved she's made it up Jolly's Pass Road. It's pretty rough, to be fair. She did ride down Jolly's Pass Road on a little Honda monkey bike because she did a ride from the top of New Zealand all the way to the bottom on a little tiny Honda monkey bike earlier in the year. So if you're keen on watching some of those videos, again, they're on her channel. Very cool. Right, while that's cooling down, before I check it, I'm going to have a pie, and I've got a Bake Shack pepper steak. Right, to the pie warmer. Here we go. I'm going to have to take it out of the bag first, aren't I? Now, don't forget, this is added flavour. That's what my grandfather told me. So, we'll just go with that. There's no washing of hands in my workshop. Right, to the pie warmer. Shum! I always enjoy a good pie. When Mrs. Mechanic isn't around, I can have as many pies as I like. How cool is that? Right, 23 minutes. Boom, there we go. Oh, well, that's going to take a while. So, I could probably make the other one. Nice. Is it gonna fit? I don't know, it better do. But things cool down and they get different sizes, so you don't quite know. Oh yes. Bloody good. Now, I do agree, I've made a lot more work for myself by not just welding this piece in. But I wanted to make it, you know, look nice and purposeful. And I thought with these little inset pieces, you know, it's a bit different. It sort of works, I think. Tell me what you think. Or did I just waste a lot of time? Probably. Will I feel better about it? Yes, I will. Definitely. Maybe. I mean, they should be bang on, really, shouldn't they, to be fair? But, you know, life doesn't work like that, does it, sometimes? Oh, yes! I like it. A lot. Oh, it's warming up now. Right, all the diagonal pieces are done. They've all been countersunk. The other two pairs are ready to install to the other two frames that they're currently not in. That's basically Emma's workstation, Mrs. Mechanic, and I'm working on mine at the moment. So, all that will need to be done is to make the little tabs to go in and then weld them into place. So that's nearly done. Not going to do it today because I'm running out of time. Mrs. Mechanic's been away for 2 weeks, right? I've got a lot of washing up to do. And no, we don't have a dishwasher, right? The whole sink area, including the sink and the cooker and the table at the end of the kitchen, it's all piled high with pots and pans and cups and glasses and stuff. I've got all that to do today because I've got to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive to Wellington. And of course, if she gets home and it's like that, I'm dead, basically. Simple as that. And I've also got to take the sides off the little trailer and hitch it onto the ute and get all that ready for the morning as well. So I don't have that much more time. Not today. But what we can still do is, I've got some steel somewhere, is we can make, or at least make some. We need 8 in total. I should make 8 really. We'll make 8 steel plates, 6mm plates, which will go on the base of each of the verticals to mount the casters. And then, other than a few lugs to weld on, the end frames are finished. Near as damn it. Maybe another half day and we're there. And then I can hand them over to Mrs. Mechanic. She can clean them all up and paint them and do all the stuff that she does, while I'm then working on Workstation 2. Clever, eh? Okay, so I've got to find some steel. I know there's a huge sheet on top of my bench, which we can always rub some off if we need to. That's not the end of the world, because it's a pain in the ass having it there anyway. But I think there's some more hiding. So let me have a look around, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can, and we'll crack on. Right, all I've got is this huge 6mm sheet that has been residing on top of my workbench, the main workbench, for a very long time. So I'm going to measure up the casters. We need to know the size of the plates on the casters, that way the mounts. So, bear with me, caller. I don't want to take these out of the box and get them all grubby, because they're going in the house. So 85mm across by 100mm deep. Okay, so if I cut a strip off this 100mm wide, and then we can chop it up into 85s, and we've got what we need. Woohoo! Right, I'll crack on with that. The steel we have! It's brilliant actually having a stock of steel on your workbench ready to go. Okay, so I've no idea how long it is, but we need to cut 8 85mm wide pieces from this. We'll make one into a template, and then we can pre-drill all the others, and then we can just drill them all out. So I think they're an M8 bolt that holds those casters on, so 8mm hole, we're good to go. Right, bit of marking out to do. Ooh, time is ticking. Not sure we'll get these finished today or not. Okay, so we need to measure in 85mm, very simple. 85mm, that feels about right, because it's good to do that because it does bow a little bit as a steel, the way it's been formed at the end, so just helps to get on the edge. So 85, that's 80, 85, nearly made a mistake, didn't I? There we go. Now you're supposed to put your scriber on the line and then bring your square up to it. That's what I was taught. I never do it, but there you go. Top tip. Now, let's not make the mistake here. That's 85mm. If I mark another line, another 85mm from there, so 170 from our datum, and this is our datum here, look, and we'll choose this end to be a datum as well. And that means you always measure from here and you always measure from here. Very important. And ideally it's square. It should be. It is. Alright. If I was to measure another 85 from there, so 170, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, 170 from here, and put another line here. When we cut that, we've not accounted for the thickness of the slip disc. No. Which means all of these will be 1mm smaller. And we don't want one that's 84mm wide. We want one that's 85mm wide. So the way I do it is I'm going to cut this one. This will become our template, and then all I do is then lay it on top, square up the side, make sure it's flush, and then score a line, and that's my next line. Sometimes I even use it to cut, but you be careful. If you do too many cuts, obviously you're going to grind away your template, which is not ideal either. You know? So anyway, right, so I'm going to cut that one, and then we'll chomp our way through the rest of the thing. Hopefully we can get 8 out of it actually. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, we can. Easy. Okay. Better stand back. Man, you can tell summer's coming because the flies are out. Bloody things. Right, I'm going to cheat a little bit because we're running out of time. So I'm just going to lay the caster on top of there, one of the casters. Try not to get it dirty, obviously. But hey, I can always clean it if need be. So I'm just going to make sure it's all squared up on the plate, which it is. And then I'm going to clamp it down to the whole lot down to the bench. Here's the plan. Okay. I do like this bench. It's a very useful bench, this bench. It's made a lot of things over the years. It cost me $100, this bench. And it came with a record vise on it. $100. So cheap. Okay, so I'm just going to, because it's an oval, I'm just going to score. In fact, let's try this end because this end is probably a bit sharper. I'm just going to score all the ovals. And then we'll just put a hole in the middle. Ooh, geez, that was close. Wow. Nearly had an injury. I'm pretty sure there is a measurement sheet, a data sheet on the website, but to be perfectly honest, I can't be bothered. You guys can have a look. It'll give you the actual dimensions to mark out, but this is pretty easy. And it's got to be right because it's exactly the measurements. Okay, we'll get rid of that. That can go back in the box. And this is pretty much a standard mounting. Now, I've actually cut 8 more plates. I'm going to keep this template for future use because it's a standard mount. Okay, where's my ruler? So if we go across there, I wonder where the middle bit is. Is it 10 mil in? 10 mil would be normal, wouldn't it? 10 mil would make sense, but it's not. It's about there is the middle, isn't it? Mr. Scriber. It's the middle of that oval is about there. Now whatever it is, I want to standardize it. I'm not just going to center punch somewhere in the middle of each one. Okay, so that is about 12 and it's about 13 that way. So could it be 13 that way as well? It could be. Bear with me. I think it is. I think it's 13 from each side when it's an 85. Yeah. Okay. Time to cheat a bit more. We'll just clamp that back down again. And we'll go and get the verniers. And some of you are going to hate me for this. Okay, where's the one we marked? That one there, look. I'm just going to stick the verniers on there, stick it to there. Oh, 12.36. So I wonder if it's 12.5 then. Pretty much, isn't it? I'm going to go for 12.5. I mean, my plate's not going to be 100% accurate anyway. And to be fair, we should really be measuring from one side. That looks pretty good, I like that. So I'm going to score down there. There we go. And now we're looking this way on if it's 12 and 8, which is bloody close. But it's not. And that's not on that one either. 12 and a half. Okay. So the middle of that one. About there. Yeah. It's definitely out, isn't it? There's more plates here. And that could just be me. Okay, no worries. Let's just use this as a marking up and then we'll flip it over and actually do the proper drawing on the side. So I think that as it stands, there we are, that'll do. So we'll just score down there. Should have gone on the website, Andy. Right. So that's 7 point. God, you wouldn't do 7.7, would you? Right, I'm going to go for 78 mil between the centres in that plane. 78. Okay, so 78 that way. Alright, so let's put 78 on there, just to remind us. Okay. And the centre, scriber. Now the angle's going to be all wrong for you guys because you can't see this, but you've got the idea. Yeah, that seems about right to the centre. 13, perfect. That works. Okay, I can move it, it's no problem. I can do that. Okay, now will 13 be this? Oh yeah, it's pretty good actually. Okay, we'll have another 13 down there then. And what's the width on that? 58 on the nail. It's pretty central. It really is. Okay, so 58 this way on. Okay, so 58 that way. Benches are great, aren't they? Okay, what we'll do. Do we just go, you know what, it's near enough. It's like a millimetre difference. I think we just go with that, to be honest. I think it's near enough for our job. Thinking about it. So what I'll do now is centre punch these, we'll drill them, and this will become our template. Which will mean that every single one will be a little bit offset, but it doesn't matter. It will work just fine. Okie dokie. That's not going to work, is it? If you want to be touching the bench to be any good, right. Nice. That's better. Now, are we bang on with these? All I could do is go that way a little bit. Coolio. Right, to the drill press. Chong! Didn't work that way, did it? Because I've got to be stood on that side, but no, it doesn't matter. Right, it's getting late. I need a cider. When you're making a template, don't drill the holes to the full size. Well, don't make them big anyway. 3mm drill bit's fine because it's more accurate. Less chance of it wandering around when you're copying that across to all your other pieces. Clever stuff, isn't it? Right, that can stay in there for now because I'm probably going to use it again. Okay, to the main bench. Diddly diddly. Okay, so got our little templates, and now we've got 8 pieces to transfer that onto. So what I like to do is get a pair of mold grips, make sure they fit. Ooh, maybe a bit wider. Make sure they're squared up. Remember, the important stuff is the gaps between the holes, right? And that's not going to change. The actual alignment on the plate isn't that critical. It isn't critical. It helps, but it's not critical. Okay, pop it in the vise. And you only get to make so many out of each template because it does wear and your holes end up being the wrong size. Now you don't have to go all the way through. All we're doing is just starting the hole. What I'll do is I'll bring you around this side now so you can see me do the next one properly, because you didn't see a lot from there, do you? Okay, so that one, that's done, ready to go back on the pillar drill press, depends where you live, and get drilled through and then get drilled 8mm. So stick him on there. Back of the vise is good because it's a nice flat surface. Stick on your null grips. Have a double check, make sure it all feels about right, which it does. Stick it in the vise so you can get to all 4 holes, and away you go. Now you can see what I'm doing. So we've lined it all up. There's your 4 holes. Chuck your little drill bit in. Obviously use the same size drill bit, in this case 3mm. Doesn't need a lot, just a bit. Job as a carrot. Now, just before we go any further, let's take the first one, put it through the drill press, 3mm all the way through, and then we'll knock it up to 8mm, and then we'll test it on one of the casters, just to make sure we're right, because it's okay to make 1 mistake, but to make 8 mistakes and wreck all the plates that we spent ages cutting off the bench and doing bits and pieces would be stupid. So, let's walk before we run. Double check we're right. To the drill press. Ooh, we're so close for the end of today. Oh, Marmite's doing well. Oh, by the way, the reason why I've got this extra plate on there is because when you're working on the small plates, the hole in the cast bed table is massive. Somebody's chewed it all up with a hole saw. I know it wasn't me, but it makes it a bit wibbly wobbly when you're working on small stuff, so that's an easy way of fixing that problem. Right, 8mm drill bits. Can I hold onto the plate with an 8mm drill bit? Yeah, usually I can. He says. That needs to be moved, it's not quite lined up. Let's just tighten that up because it changes the angle a bit. Angle of the dangle. There we go. That's where it needs to be. In the middle. Right, we'll need some Forge spray for this. It's good stuff. It's drilling and cutting foam. Really good. Can't read the part number anymore, but it's excellent stuff. Wrong bit. Donkey. that, we'll put it on the drill bit. That's what I normally do. Okay. Countersink. Now, always, whenever I drill any holes, I'll always put a countersink on each side just to get rid of the burrs, and it really tidies the job up. No end. Yes, I need a new chuck. It's knackered. But not today. There we go. Simon did send me a chuck. Simon Raw from England, actually. Nice chap. He sent me a chuck, and it's on... It will end up in the lathe, but it's on the other pillar drill, which is buried over there at the moment. Mrs. Mechanic was using it lots, actually. Very good chuck. Jacob's chuck, I think it was. Thank you, Simon, as always. Top bloke. Right, so just raise this up. Now we're only doing one for now, and then I can do all the rest of my own time. Don't need to be on the video, I just want to make sure that we're lined up. There we go. Right, let's go and check it out and see if it fits. Right, I think the easiest way of doing this is to put the plate in the vise, and then the caster one can just sit on top, can't it? And we'll drop the bolts through. Now, I haven't pre-tested this. I could all be wrong. Pretty sure. Pretty confident. What the hell? Oh, aluminium jaws. They don't grip onto steel very well, and it has got a round. Oh, no, it hasn't. Not this one. Let's try that. Stay. Okay. Where's my caster? Right. Can you see what's going on? Let's pop some bolts to and see what happens. 1, 2. I would hope 2 fit. 3, 4, and a little bit of wiggle room, which is designed. That's how they do it. So that's cool. That template we've got is good enough for this job. So very happy with that. We will be getting some shorter bolts, that's for sure, because these are way too long. Putting back in the box. Lovely. Okay, well, I've run out of time, so I'm going to finish all these plates after I've finished filming and get, you know, probably one night next week, to be fair. I've really got to get packed up and get ready for tomorrow's long drive. It's about 12 hours of driving tomorrow. Not really looking forward to it, but I am looking forward very much to seeing Mrs. Mechanic again, because she's been away for 2 whole weeks. And just before that, I was away for 5 weeks. We've been apart for almost 2 months. It's been ridiculous. Anyway, so I'll get the rest of these finished. In the next video, I'll show you how to fit these, to weld them to the bottom of the frames. And we're going to make absolutely certain they are, you know, square, not like that, so they're not like that. They've got to be absolutely bang on. I might even make a little jig to do that. We'll see. We'll see what we come up with. But very, very important because, you know, you've got 4 wheels and they all need to have equal pressure on the ground. And if the frame's slightly twisted, then one of the wheels, a bit like the table I'm working on, this blue table, absolute nightmare. A level ground and it just wobbles from one corner to the other, opposite corners. It's a real pain in the ass. So I need to make sure that that's not the case. Obviously, I could always space it out with a couple of washers as a last resort, but I'd rather get it right first time. Anyway, there will be at least one more video in this sort of mini series. There might be 2. We'll see how things pan out because there's still a bit to do. In the next video, we're going to fit those plates. I'm not going to put the casters on. They're going to get fitted inside the house when we build the whole thing up. So you won't see it with the casters on until it's actually installed in the house, which could be a while from now because we've got the room to empty and stuff and still got to make them. You'll also, next video will cover fitting all the larger lugs to the end frames and doing a similar thing with the larger box section as we did with those diagonals where we cut the slots, drill a hole, cut the bloody bumblebee, stay over there, drill a hole, cut the slot and then weld in the plate and then we can bolt the whole thing up. These little diagonal ones was like a test to see, oh, that might be Mrs. Mechanic, hang on. It's now well, it's actually 10 to 5. Whoa. He's getting pissed. He's getting upset. He is the brake cleaner. Nope, she's not messaged. That was an email. Okay, I'm going to show you something now. I'm going to turn you around, live TV. And this is a can of Forge brake cleaner. It's bloody brilliant stuff, it really is. Now, he's up there at the moment. We wait for him to stop. Come on. Because he's not happy. You can see he's bumbling around big time. He's trapped. Oh, he's a big bugger. I've got to be careful because in fact, let's go and turn that off. Source of ignition. Holy crap. Oh, wrong one. That one. Oh, still the wrong one. Oh, for God's sake. There we go. Right. Source of ignition is now gone. Where is he? There he is. There. Doesn't like brake cleaner. But it's super flammable, this stuff. I need to kill him because he's going to go out really, really angry now, isn't he? I don't know where he went. Can you see him? Alright, we'll carry on because I need to crack on. Right, turn you around. Hopefully that's put him to sleep. Now, sorry if you like bees. I love bees outside the workshop, wasps and bees in the workshop. Bees I sort of tolerate till they go mad, wasps instant death, same as rats. Okay, so yes, in the next video we will be joining the 2 frames together, getting all the cross pieces done, and then probably in the last video we'll cover putting the shelving bits and pieces on, all the little trinkets and stuff, and then it'll be done. I won't show you me painting it or Mrs. Mechanic cleaning it all up. Although she might be in one of the videos because she might be in the workshop doing the first one while I'm finishing the second one. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, interesting and fun. That's what it's all about. I know my fabrication videos don't get a lot of views, although 1 or 2 get lots of views. It's really weird as YouTube, but I enjoy making them and it sort of captures another little event in my life when I've made something in the workshop. And this workstation and the one from Mrs. Mechanic will outlast me for sure. You know, make it once, make it right. That's what I say. Now, haven't made a video for a while, so if you haven't yet subscribed, click on subscribe, ring the bell, and that way YouTube will send you a notification as and when uploading new videos. You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals or through my... He's waking up. Or through my email, andymechanic@live.co.uk, live.co.uk. Andy Mechanic's one word. And if you want to support the channel, you can do that through Patreon or PayPal, or both, whichever you like. There's a couple of links at the front. PayPal's easy. Just go on to, you know how to get onto PayPal. You just www.paypal.com, I think it is. Go on to there. If you want to send some cash through, you can do. It's Andy Mechanic. Hang on. Whoa! Where is? Come on. He's not happy. We're running out of brake cleaner. There he is. There he is. He's definitely dead. Sorry, Bumblebee, but product placement. Classic stuff. Although to be fair, when it's a wasp dead like that, it's brilliant. That was such a large Bumblebee. It did take a bit of taking down, but I didn't fail. So yes, if you want to sponsor the channel, support the channel, sorry, PayPal, andymechanic@live.co.uk, just fire some cash through if you like, even a buck, couple of bucks. It all adds to the little tiny pot that I have to work with. To be perfectly honest, I pretty much fund the channel, to be fair. But if you can help a little bit, it all helps at this end. And I am extremely grateful. There must be another one. How the hell can it still be alive? It's in pieces. And on Patreon, you can become a patron, and then you get access to all sorts of other stuff. There's loads of photos and bits and pieces on Patreon as well. I've not updated it for a while, but there's already a heap of stuff on there. So if you've not had access yet, get yourself in there. Great screensavers and stuff. Okay, crew, I have to crack on. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers. Over and out. And we get the flip again.
Oh,